Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's review I am incredibly excited to be finally taking a look at the Transformers Prime R.E.D. Arcee. You guys all know that I have a massive soft spot for Transformers Prime, and when it was announced that we were going to be getting updated 2021 representations of some of my favourite characters, I just knew that I had to add them to the collection. And if the R.E.D. line does continue to put out Transformers Prime figures, I'm pretty certain that I'll be clearing all of them off the shelves. Now of course I do have a rather love and hate relationship with the R.E.D. line. Wave 1 definitely didn't go down too well with me. The only figure out of that wave that I did actually like was Megatron. However, I can say that judging by how Arcee looks here in the packaging, Wave 2 does appear to be a marked improvement over Wave 1. Taking a look here at the packaging, you can see that we have an amazing piece of artwork here of Arcee, obviously based on her Transformers Prime appearance. In my opinion, the best design of Arcee that we have ever gotten. We've got the Transformers Prime logo, an amazing window view display which clearly showcases the figure, and as we swing around here to the side of the box, we have a plethora of accessories. It certainly does appear as if we are getting more accessories here with Arcee than any of the Wave 1 characters. As we take a look here towards the back of the box, once again amazing artwork here of some promotional images of Arcee demonstrating some of the features as well as the various different accessories that she does indeed come with. As we take a look here towards the top of the box, we have the Transformers Prime logo, a logo which I am thrilled to see here on a 2021 figure. Honestly, I probably haven't been this excited for an action figure in a very long time. Now before we actually open her up, something which is worth noting is that this is a non-converting figure, so before I get 1,000 comments asking whether or not this figure transforms, nope, she is only an action figure based on her robot mode appearance. However, that is good enough for me, as I only ever really display my Transformers in their robot modes, and if this figure is half as good as some of the images show her to be, she will be for sure my favourite Arcee of all time. So without further ado, let's crack her open and see what awaits us inside. And so here we have the Transformers Prime R.E.D. Arcee opened up and out of the packaging, and my goodness, this figure here looks stunning. Not just because she is of course a fembot, but because the painting and the sculpt work on the actual figure herself, in my opinion, is one of the best action figures that I have ever handled. Of course, she is a Transformers action figure, and Transformers are and probably always will be my bread and butter, so I'm a little biased in that regards, but she is just so awesome. This is by far the best representation we have ever gotten for the TF Prime Arcee period. Now that's not to say that the figure is 100% perfect. Unfortunately, some of my qualms that I did have with Wave 1 still retain here with Wave 2. However, this figure certainly does get a lot of things right and does drastically improve on some of the critical areas of critique that I did have with that initial wave. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked at how well the sculpt work on this figure turned out, and a design which is now 10 to 9 years old still looks so awesome in 2021. Without further ado, let's bring her in and take a closer look at the details. Starting off firstly by taking a look at, of course, her head sculpt. In my opinion, this is a beautiful recreation of one of my all-time favourite designs for the character of Arcee. I cannot believe that it has been almost 8 years since Transformers Prime did indeed air on our screens, and I am just really hoping that the show can in some way, shape or form make a revival in this particular decade, or at least we can get an influx of new amazing figures such as the one that I am indeed holding. You can see here the sculpt work perfectly captures her design. I absolutely love the elegance to Transformers Prime Arcee. You've got the very sleek looking crest there, which has been picked out in an amazing gold. We've got some further details such as the red gem, and I do find the 3D printing technology a great touch, especially as not only does it amplify this almost animatic feel that you get when holding the figure, but it also allows for some exceptional paintwork such as a lighter shade of blue there used for her iris, as well as a little darker shade used for the main eye. We also have got some black highlights around where the eyeball would indeed be situated, and we do get what appears to be blue eyeliner around in order to bring out some definition. We've also got that same gold used there for the mouth, and taking a look here at the back section of Arcee, we of course have her signature wings. Unfortunately, the Autobot insignias are rather plain as far as their sculpt work is concerned, and there is unfortunately no red paint application applied to this, but that is something that I can easily forgive. As we take a look here towards the back of the figure, as she does not need to transform, this is potentially the best recreation of this character we are ever going to get. You can see how her motorbike wheel does seamlessly fit here into her back, and I just love the overall elegance here. No excess vehicle mode kibble with maximum efficiency as far as the robot mode look goes. You can see how we do have a breastplate here with the spikes protruding off over her shoulders. I do like the attention to detail that we have got underneath this piece, and I will go into further detail regarding that later on in the review. You can see here that as far as her arms are concerned, really nice looking sculpt work, and just overall the elegance to this design as well as the paintwork truly does make this one of the most beautiful figures that I have ever handled. As we take a look here towards the lower section of the torso, I do like how we have got sculpted areas overlapping one another. It does make the design look a little more complex, and once again better matches her appearance from the show. We also have got these electric blue stripes here on her thighs, which I think is a really nice touch and is something that Hasbro could have easily missed. Taking a look here down to her shins, you can see we have here the very elegant and sleek knee pad armor, and then taking a look here to the interior of her legs, we do indeed get the motorbike wheel, which splits into two and can be visible on either sides of her legs. I also love the foot design here, very elongated and very animated-esque in terms of its design, and as mentioned at the beginning of this review, this particular design of Arcee is one of my all-time favourites. Taking a look at her here from a complete back perspective, you can see here that really she does look terrific from all angles. I'm so impressed here with the sculpt work. As far as articulation is concerned, we do get a ball joint here at the head, so this can of course look left to right as well as look up very slightly. It can also look down. We can also get it to tilt side to side. We do get a full 360 rotation here at her arm. I am happy to show you that she does indeed have butterfly joints, which certainly work a treat. We can of course hinge these sections here up. We do get a full 360 rotation here at the elbow, as well as a single hinge joint which can bend to roughly 90. It would have been nice if we could have got a slightly greater range of motion. However, seeing as the likes of Marvel Legends are unable to implement double jointed elbows on female figures for such a streamlined character like Arcee, I'm pretty sure it would have been impossible or would have made the joint incredibly brittle. We also do get a full 360 rotation here where the forearm gauntlet does begin, so 2 rotations, one here and then one here, and then finally taking a look here for the hands, these can rotate the full 360 as well as hinge forwards and backwards. As far as the upper torso is concerned, we do get an ab crunch. This can crunch forwards, however is slightly stiff on my particular copy. It can also crunch backwards. We do get a swivel joint here at the waist which can rotate the full 360. It would have once again been nice to have gotten a ball joint here for the upper diaphragm, or perhaps a ball joint here so that we could have exaggerated that ab crunch a little more. The legs here can kick forwards this far and can also kick back to that far. They can indeed do the splits. We do get a full 360 rotation here at the thigh, as well as a 90-degree bend here at the knee, and also a full rotation here just below the knee. Taking a look here down to the lower section of the feet, this is where one of my major qualms do lie with this figure, in the sense that as I do begin to hinge the foot, you can see that the plastic does begin to slightly stress and it is very stiff. I do not want to force it and potentially damage the figure, but this here does also act as an ankle rocker joint, so she does have a full 360 rotation here at the toe. However, the main foot itself cannot rotate with it. However, that is just due to the nature of her design. In regards to the material used here on Arcee, it is unfortunately very similar to some of the Wave 1 figures, and by that I mean it is almost this PVC material which does feel very pliable in hand. You can see all of this here is very rubbery. Her crest too is very rubbery. All of this armor here too is rubbery. Everything on the figure is rubbery and nothing is hard solid plastic. That does have some benefits, such as this area being able to move around in order to accommodate the range of motion here for the legs, but it can also of course have some drawbacks, such as flexible plastic which doesn't allow you to bend the joint without stressing it, which is what I believe has occurred here for the toes. As far as special features are concerned for this particular figure, and something which is completely different with Wave 2 when compared to Wave 1, is that she does indeed have removable armor. Now this is something that we don't see in the Transformers Prime series and is something that Hasbro are merely taking creative license with. However, I'm really eager to see as to what they will do with future figures, but here for Arcee, I can certainly see some finding it a little inappropriate. So just to demonstrate it, essentially what you do is take this breastplate here and you can just completely remove this, which does reveal some really nice mechanical detail. Now once again, as this is made out of a slightly more rubbery type of plastic, the detail is not as crisp and precise as it would be if it was a firmer type, but it is still a nice attention to detail. And as we take a look here to the interior of her breastplate, you can also see that there is some really nice sculpt work. However, once again, I do find this to be a rather throwaway gimmick, and is something that I'm quite unsure as to why the designers thought it necessary to implement a removable breastplate for a female Transformers Autobot. You don't see me complaining about it, but I'm pretty certain that it will be something that many collectors do indeed disagree with. Taking a look at all of Arcee's included accessories, she does indeed actually come with a plethora, the largest of which is this Energon cube, and I've got to say that the detail as well as the overall sculpt work on this is very impressive in my opinion. This has been cast out of a transparent purple plastic, however certainly does have a fair amount of density to it, meaning that it is not a pliable piece and is actually the firmest piece of plastic that comes in this set as a whole. You can also see that it has got some very nice sculpt work, especially where the edges are concerned, and as Energon does play a key role in the Transformers Prime series, it is fantastic that they did indeed include this with this figure. We of course do get her signature arm cannons, and I love the sculpt work as well as the overall detailing on these. It is unfortunate that they are not metallic silver much like we saw in the show, but nonetheless it is great that they did include these, and I love how they aren't an additional accessory that would be intended to slot into her hands. These are indeed removable accessories that you need to remove the hand and actually pour into her forearms in order to recreate where her hands do indeed transform into the blasters. To very quickly demonstrate that, something which is worth noting is that fresh out the packaging she does come with a pair of trigger holding hands, which I do find to be a rather peculiar inclusion, as she doesn't come with any accessories that could actually be gripped in her hands, and I would much rather have them included karate chop hands, as of course Arcee from Transformers Prime is very hands-on in terms of her combat. But as far as actually removing her hands go, you simply just want to remove them, and this is another area of concern for me. You can see just how small the pegs actually are, and due to them being a very thin piece of plastic, I am afraid that over time they could potentially begin to warp and of course snap. But you simply just want to take the blaster here, snap this into her forearm like so, and there you have Arcee wielding one of her blasters. Of course we can make her dual wield them, so pull this one out as well, snap that into place, and this is just absolutely awesome and is something that no mass-produced Arcee figure has ever been able to achieve. All the Arcee figures came with ridiculously large weapons, and the Transformers Prime First Edition Arcee never actually came with any blasters at all. I think this is so cool, and of course will create for many different posing options. But we can also implement her arm blades, which are of course Transformers Prime Arcee's signature weapon. You can see the sculpt work on these, in my opinion, have come out incredibly well. Unfortunately, they too are made out of a pliable piece of plastic, however are nowhere near as pliable as these back fin pieces that we have here on her back. In order to actually implement these onto the figure, you can of course take this peg here and snap this in there nice and securely. We can turn our attention here to this side and repeat the exact same process, and there we have Arcee fully armored up with all of her accessories, and I just think this is so awesome. Of course, I would have loved to have seen some silver paint applied here for the arm blades and the arm blasters, but as far as the sculpt work is concerned, this is a perfect recreation of what we got from the show. Now, she does also come with some blast effects. Now, something which is rather odd to me is that they have decided to just cast these here in solid grey plastic, but when you actually take a look at the box art, they are shown to be made out of transparent purple plastic, which I think would have looked so much better than the grey that we have got on the final figure. But as far as actually inserting them here onto the blades goes, you may want to remove these arm cannons, as there really isn't a lot of clearance to do so. You simply just want to take this section here, and this is designed to slide over the top of the blade all the way down until it does sit something along the lines of this. And I do think it's quite a nice inclusion. As mentioned, if you get her in various different poses, it can definitely create for some very good photography options, but I just believe that with it being a grey plastic, it looks a little too much like it is actually part of the blade itself and isn't a blast effect. So it would have been nice if that was cast in the same transparent purple that we got here for the Energon cube, but nonetheless it is what it is, and to me, I'm more than likely not going to be displaying her with these. The final set of accessories she comes with are indeed two fisted hands, and these are actually the hands that I do pose her with, as I don't really like the trigger fingered hands. You simply just want to snap these there into place, and you can see how they look really awesome, especially with the arm blades attached. So overall, I am thoroughly impressed by the sculpt work as well as the array of accessories that she comes with. For me, it is only the material used as well as the lack of paint applications on some of the accessories that are detracting points from an overall great looking figure. And here for a Transformers Prime Arcee size comparison, we have on the left the R.E.D version, and here on the right the first edition version. Now, something which you must excuse is that a couple of years ago this figure did take a shelf dive, which resulted in her crest snapping clean off, and believe me, there is no one who is more upset about that than me. But upon comparing these figures, I think that we can all safely say that the new R.E.D version obliterates the 2011 version. Now, of course, the 2011 version did have the ability to transform, whereas this one does not, but something which makes me really excited for the future is that they were able to accomplish so much in 2010/2011 with this figure. Imagine what they could accomplish if they did a transformable version of this character in 2021 or even 2022. I'm just hoping Hasbro take the potential that is out there and is something that many fans are craving. As we've all seen the positive reception from some of the reissues of the Transformers Prime stuff, Hasbro need to give us an all-new Transformers Prime line, much like they have done with the War for Cybertron trilogy. And here, for a very quick R.E.D size comparison, we have Arcee compared next to the entire first wave of figures, and out of all of them, Arcee is by far the best in my opinion. I loved Megatron and still do really like Megatron. He is the highlight out of wave 1 for me. However, Arcee has no QC issues in regards to the plastic. With Optimus Prime, Megatron and Soundwave, I had these awful issues where the plastic looked as if though it had been burned or scratched out. I have none of these issues on Arcee at all. While she is still made out of the same PVC material as was present on some of these figures, figures. To me, that isn't enough to detract points and make her lower than any of these. I believe as far as her overall functionality is concerned, as well as her sculpt work, she is impeccable, and she is my favourite. That may be biased, as I do love her design over any of the G1 characters, but overall she's just an amazing figure, and I cannot wait to see what they would do with this particular line if they were indeed to approach the live action movies. And so, some final thoughts. Overall, I believe I can safely say that I love this figure. I believe this to be a perfect recreation of a character from one of my all-time favourite childhood shows. Hasbro have done a fantastic job in capturing this character's overall design. The very sleek and elegant nature of Arcee is all present here in the sculpt work. I believe her head sculpt looks remarkable. I do love the slew of accessories that she comes with. While she may be lacking in regards to paintwork, especially where those accessories are concerned, I think that for the most part, for the £20 price point, you are certainly getting your bang for your buck. I believe her articulation to be satisfactory. Of course, nowhere near as good in my opinion as the likes of the Baroness from the G.I. Joe classified line, and that is something I really believe this line needs to improve upon, that being articulation. If she had double jointed elbows as well as double jointed knees and a better range of motion for her ankles, she could have potentially been one of my favourite 6-inch figures from Hasbro of all time. As it stands, she's definitely in my top 5. I think she's awesome, and I really hope that Hasbro continue to pump out more Transformers Prime R.E.D. figures. I'm just only hoping that they can improve on paintwork as well as the overall materials used. So with all that being said, if you can find this figure and you are a Transformers Prime fan, then I highly recommend her. As far as quality is concerned, she's leaps and bounds better than anything from Wave 1, and I'm more than certain that out of Wave 2, she is the one that is going to be flying off shelves, and that Cheetor is going to be the figure that sticks around for the most, not only because his transformable Kingdom version is still on shelves and is roughly the same price point as him, but because he's not as popular as a character from what I've seen as the Transformers Prime Arcee is. I really hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below. Do you agree with my thoughts on this figure, and would you rate her as highly as I have done in this video? I thank you all for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then.